You have felt it all week, that quiet pressure in your chest when someone tries to make you smaller, as if your voice, your calling, and your peace were negotiable. This is not a random emotion passing through your day. It is a signal that something sacred inside you refuses to be treated as optional. The ones who attempted to diminish you are losing their grip, not because you shouted louder, but because you stopped handing them the keys to your identity. You are not returning to the room where your light was treated as a problem. You are not returning to the table where your gifts were tolerated but never honored. You are not returning to the silence that was demanded of you while others spoke freely. This is the moment you choose to walk forward with a new kind of steadiness, one that does not need to prove itself to those who already decided not to see you. There is a reason this message found you today, and it is not simply to comfort you for a few minutes. It is to anchor you in a truth that will outlast the noise. If you have been sensing that this season carries more weight than the others, that your spirit is tired of negotiating with people who do not understand your assignment, then you need a framework that helps you name what is happening and move through it with clarity. The 7 Principles of C.S. Lewis for the Chosen exists to help you identify the season you are living, understand what the waiting may be forming, and distinguish fear from direction so you can respond with faith instead of panic. To access the ebook, go now to the top of the comments and click the link in the pinned comment. You do not need to explain yourself to anyone who benefits from your confusion. You do not need to shrink so others can feel tall in your presence. You know the cost of this in your body. Your shoulders carry a weight that does not belong to you. Your breath becomes shallow when certain names appear on your screen. Your hands pause over the keyboard as if typing the truth might restart a war you thought was over. You wake up before sunrise with a prayer that has no words, only a deep ache that says, "I cannot go back to being small for the sake of other people's comfort." The kitchen light is on, the coffee is cooling, and your mind is replaying every moment you swallowed your voice to keep the peace. That peace was never real. It was a performance that drained you slowly day after day until you forgot what it felt like to speak without bracing for impact. This is why the idea of not returning is not rebellion. It is mercy. It is the moment you stop treating your own soul as a bargaining chip. It is the decision to stop offering your clarity as a sacrifice to people who call it arrogance when you finally say no. This message is not about revenge. It is not about proving them wrong with a dramatic display. It is about recognizing that the control they tried to hold over your story was never theirs to keep. You are chosen not so you can be admired, but so you can be faithful in the places where you were told you did not belong. Today is not a magical date that erases every consequence. It is a marker. A quiet line in the sand where you decide that what was taken in secrecy will be reclaimed in peace. You will recognize the difference between closure and manipulation. You will recognize the difference between preparation and delay. You will recognize the difference between a door that God is closing and a door that fear has been guarding. You will recognize when silence is wisdom and when silence is surrender. These are not abstract ideas. They are the tools that will keep you from walking back into rooms that were never meant for your future. Picture this. You are standing in the hallway outside a familiar door. The handle is cold under your palm. You can hear the voices inside, the same tones, the same patterns, the same subtle ways of making you feel like too much and not enough at the same time. Your body knows this place. Your chest tightens, your throat dries. Your mind starts rehearsing all the ways you could explain yourself, soften your edges, apologize for existing. But something new rises in you, a quiet voice that says, You do not have to go in there to prove you are worthy of love. You do not have to earn the right to take up space. You do not have to shrink so others can feel safe around your light. You take your hand off the handle, you turn away. You walk down the hall with a steadiness that surprises you. And the air in your lungs feels different, as if your body finally believes you when you say you are done with being small. There is a reason you notice this theme now. It is not because you are suddenly more spiritual than everyone else. It is because you have been faithful in hidden places. And faithfulness eventually draws both honor and opposition. You have prayed when no one saw. You have chosen kindness when you had every right to be bitter. You have kept showing up even when your efforts were treated as expected rather than valued. That kind of quiet loyalty does not go unnoticed in heaven, and it does not go unnoticed in the realms that oppose your peace. Many readers who arrived feeling confused or tired of waiting said the material helped them understand their season more clearly, organize their prayers, or stop interpreting every silence as abandonment. The 7 Principles of C.S. Lewis for the Chosen gives you language for what you are living so you can stop guessing whether you are being prepared, redirected, rebuilt, or simply released. To access the ebook, go now to the top of the comments and click the link in the pinned comment. You are not losing your mind because you sense a shift. You are waking up to the fact that the old patterns no longer fit the person you are becoming. The first opposition will not look like a dramatic confrontation. It will look like a message that says, "You are overthinking this." It will sound like a voice that says, "You are being too sensitive." It will feel like a sudden wave of guilt that whispers, "If you really loved them, you would go back and try harder." This is not love. This is a strategy to keep you in a role that no longer serves your calling. Distraction will try to pull you into arguments that drain you. Comparison will try to convince you that everyone else is handling this better. False urgency will try to rush you into decisions before you have prayed. Fear will try to paint obedience as selfishness. None of these voices have the final say. They are noise, not truth. They are the last attempts of a system that knows it is losing its grip on you. Think of Joseph in the pit, then in the prison, then in the palace. He did not become the person who saved a nation by staying in the place where he was misunderstood. He moved through seasons that made no sense at the time, and each season prepared him for a responsibility he could not have carried earlier. You are not in the pit forever. You are not in the prison forever. You are being moved, sometimes slowly, sometimes painfully, toward a place where your gifts will be stewardship rather than survival. This does not mean every door will open immediately. It means the doors that are meant for you will not require you to betray your soul to walk through them. The hallway you are in right now, with its cold handles and familiar voices, is not your final address. It is a passage. It is a place of training, not a place of permanent residence. If you ignore this signal, the cycle will repeat. You will go back into the room, offer your peace as a sacrifice, and wonder why your chest tightens again. You will answer the message you knew you should not answer. You will accept the invitation you knew was not for you. You will sit at the table where your voice is tolerated but never truly welcomed, and you will leave feeling smaller than when you arrived. This is not failure. It is a pattern. It is the result of treating every open door as an obligation, even when your spirit is whispering, "This one is not for you." The cost is not just emotional, it is spiritual. It is the slow erosion of your ability to hear the quiet voice that knows the difference between mercy and manipulation. You were not made to live like this. You were not chosen to be a permanent guest in rooms that treat your presence as optional. This is where the title meets your story. Quem tentou te diminuir acaba de perder o controle. The ones who tried to make you smaller are losing control, not because you fought them with their own weapons, but because you stopped feeding the system that gave them power over you. You are not returning. You are not going back to the place where your light was treated as a problem. You are not returning to the silence that was demanded of you while others spoke freely. If this truth resonates with your spirit, type 888 in the comments as a simple confirmation that you are choosing to walk forward in this new steadiness. Then return to the narration. This is not magic. It is agreement. It is your way of saying, I see the pattern and I am no longer available for it. The conflict is not only external. Part of you wants to go back because familiarity feels safer than uncertainty. Part of you wonders if leaving makes you unkind. Part of you worries that if you do not keep proving your worth, you will be forgotten. This is the root. You have been trained to believe that your value depends on how much you can tolerate without complaining. You have been taught that love means endless accommodation, even when accommodation costs you your peace. You have been conditioned to think that saying no is selfish, even when saying yes is slowly killing you. This is not humility. This is a distortion. Humility does not require you to abandon your boundaries. Love does not require you to disappear so others can feel comfortable. Recognition alone is not enough. You need a practical companion for the days when the old pull feels strong, when the guilt rises, when the silence feels heavy, when you are not sure whether you are being faithful or fearful. The 7 Principles of C.S. Lewis for the Chosen is designed to walk with you through these moments, offering guided reflection, prayer prompts, and discernment tools that help you distinguish fear from direction and recognize the next faithful step without panic. This is why many readers return to these pages when they enter a new season, because it is not just theory. It is a map for the ordinary moments when you must decide whether to shrink or stand. To access the ebook, go now to the top of the comments and click the link in the pinned comment. You do not need to have everything figured out to take the next step. You only need enough light for where your feet are right now. Your mind wants to reason this into a neat formula. If I do this, then God will do that. If I stay, then I am loving. If I leave, then I am selfish. But your body knows better. Your body keeps the score. Your chest tightens when you betray your own peace. Your breath slows when you choose alignment over approval. Your spirit recognizes the difference between a closed door that is protection and a closed door that is punishment. Do not spiritualize every discomfort. Do not call every fear a test. Do not assume that every open door is an invitation. Discernment is the ability to see the difference, and it grows when you stop treating your own inner signals as suspicious. Your relationships will feel the shift. Some people will not understand why you are no longer available for certain conversations. Some will call it pride. Some will call it a phase. Some will try to pull you back with guilt, with nostalgia, with reminders of how much you have invested. This does not mean you are wrong. It means you are changing, and change unsettles systems that depend on your predictability. You can be kind without being available. You can be loving without being accessible at all hours. You can honor the past without living in it. Discernment is not suspicion. It is the wisdom to know which connections are life and which are slow leaks draining your peace. The strategy of opposition is simple. Keep you tired, keep you distracted, keep you reacting instead of responding. Flood your days with lesser urgencies so you never have space to hear the quiet voice that knows the way. Fatigue will make you doubt your own clarity. Delay will make you question your own timing. Noise will make you forget what silence feels like. This is why protection is not optional. It is stewardship. It is the decision to guard your attention, your sleep, your prayer, your peace, because these are the resources that allow you to walk forward without collapsing. You are not being dramatic when you say no to what drains you. You are being faithful to the assignment that requires you to be whole. There is a turning point that happens when you stop negotiating with the truth connected to this title. You stop asking, "What if I am wrong?" You stop asking, "What if they change?" You stop asking, "What if I am being too harsh?" You begin to say, "I know what I felt in that room. I know what happened to my peace in that conversation. I know what my body does when I am around that energy. That is enough. You do not need a committee to validate your experience. You do not need permission to protect your soul. The moment you stop arguing with your own truth is the moment your feet find solid ground again. Imagine a seed that has been buried not to be destroyed, but to be preserved. The soil is dark. The pressure is real. The silence is heavy. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. From the inside, there is a quiet transformation. The shell is softening. The core is preparing. The life inside is gathering strength for a movement that will not be rushed. This is you. You are not forgotten in the dark. You are being formed for a kind of growth that could not happen in the light. The pressure is not punishment. It is the necessary weight that shapes you for what is coming. There were forces that tried to keep the seed covered. The weight of the soil felt like oppression. The silence felt like abandonment. The delay felt like rejection. But the very things that looked like enemies were part of the process. The darkness protected you from being pulled up too soon. The pressure kept you anchored while your roots grew deeper. The silence taught you to listen for a voice that does not shout. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. You were not being hidden forever. You were being hidden until the time was right. Now the seed begins to move, not with a dramatic explosion, but with a quiet cracking, a small split in the shell, a tender root reaching down, a green shoot reaching up. The movement is slow, almost imperceptible, but it is real. The life inside is no longer content to stay hidden. It is pushing toward the light. Not because it is impatient, but because it is ready. This is your season. The quiet movement inside you is not anxiety. It is awakening. The desire to step forward is not rebellion. It is obedience to the life that has been forming in you all along. The moment you recognize the shoot breaking the soil is the moment you say, I see it. If this image of the seed breaking through the darkness speaks to your spirit, type I see it in the comments as a declaration that you recognize the movement inside you, then return to the narration. You are not imagining this. You are not making it up. You are witnessing the result of a long, hidden formation that is finally ready to be seen. The seed does not apologize for growing. You do not need to apologize for stepping into the light. This is not about performance. It is about return. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were before the world told you to be smaller. The seed does not become a tree by trying to look like a tree. It becomes a tree by being faithful to the life inside it. You become yourself by being faithful to the truth that has been forming in you through every season of waiting, every moment of silence, every act of hidden obedience. The metaphor is not poetry. It is a mirror. It is showing you that what looks like delay is actually development. It is showing you that what feels like burial is actually preparation. Here is one practice for tomorrow morning. Before you check your phone, before you open your email, before you step into the noise, sit for 2 minutes with your hands open on your lap. Breathe slowly. Say quietly, I am not returning to what made me small. I am available for what aligns with my peace. Then stand up and begin your day. This is not a ritual that changes God's mind. It is a ritual that changes your posture. It reminds your body that you are no longer negotiating with the old patterns. It sets a tone that will carry you through the moments when the pull to go back feels strong. Here is a second practice for the moments when guilt rises. Place your hand on your chest, feel your heartbeat. Say, this is not selfishness. This is stewardship. I am guarding what God has entrusted to me. Then do the next right thing. Even if it is small. Drink water. Send the message you have been avoiding. Close the tab that drains you. Step outside for fresh air. These are not grand gestures. They are anchors. They keep you grounded in the truth when the old voices try to pull you back into the noise. Protection looks like limits. It looks like closed doors that are not punishment, but mercy. It looks like pauses that are not avoidance, but wisdom. It looks like changed rhythms that are not rebellion, but alignment. You do not owe everyone access to your time, your energy, your attention, your peace. You are not required to explain every boundary. You are not required to justify every no. Mercy sometimes looks like a door that stays closed. Mercy sometimes looks like a conversation that does not happen. Mercy sometimes looks like a relationship that changes shape so both people can breathe. There is a decision you must make, not someday, now. You will decide that your peace is not negotiable. You will decide that your calling is not a hobby to be pursued only when others approve. You will decide that your soul is not a resource to be extracted by people who do not honor it. This is not harsh. This is honest. This is the moment you stop treating your life as a waiting room for other people's timelines. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are already chosen. You are waiting to step into the fullness of what that means, and that requires decisions that will unsettle some people. That is okay. Your obedience is more important than their comfort. If this message has been an amen in your spirit, a quiet yes that resonates deeper than words, let your like on this video be that silent amen, a simple signal that you received what was spoken and you are carrying it forward. You do not need to write a long comment. You do not need to explain yourself. Just let the like be your way of saying, "This met me where I am, and I am taking it with me." Think of one person who came to mind while you were listening. Maybe it is someone who has been walking through a similar season. Maybe it is someone who needs to hear that they do not have to go back. Maybe it is someone whose light has been dimmed by voices that did not understand their assignment. Share this with them, not as pressure, but as care. Send it with a simple message that says, "I thought of you when I heard this." You are not alone. This is not about growing an audience. This is about delivering hope to someone who needs to know they are seen. Say this quietly in your heart, then type it in the comments as a declaration. I am chosen. If this identity feels heavy, say it anyway. Type I am chosen in the comments as a confirmation that you are no longer available for the roles that made you small, then return to the narration for the final words. This is not a wish. This is a truth that has been forming in you through every season of waiting, every act of hidden obedience, every moment you chose peace over performance. You have walked through the pain of being diminished. You have recognized the signals that something was shifting. You have named the root pattern that kept you negotiating with your own truth. You have seen the opposition that tries to keep you tired and distracted. You have rested in the metaphor of the seed, formed in the dark, ready to break the soil. You have practiced new ways of starting your day and guarding your peace. You have made decisions that will change the shape of your life. You have let your like be an amen. You have shared this with someone who came to mind. You have declared your identity out loud. This is not the end of the journey. It is a new beginning. The peace you feel is not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of alignment. The clarity you feel is not the absence of questions. It is the presence of trust. The steadiness you feel is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of faith. There are others across the world hearing this same quiet recognition in their spirits right now. Some are in bedrooms before sunrise. Some are in cars before work. Some are in quiet church seats. Some are in hallways outside familiar doors. They are choosing, like you, not to return to what made them small. They are choosing, like you, to walk forward in a new steadiness that does not need to prove itself. You are not alone in this. You are part of a quiet movement of people who are done with performing for love and ready to live from it. Walk in peace. The door is open. Hold what returned. It is sealed. There are others across the world hearing this same quiet recognition in their spirits right now. Some are in bedrooms before sunrise. Some are in cars before work. Some are in quiet church seats. Some are in hallways outside familiar doors. They are choosing, like you, not to return to what made them small. They are choosing, like you, to walk forward in a new steadiness that does not need to prove itself. You are not alone in this. You are part of a quiet movement of people who are done with performing for love and ready to live from it. Walk in peace. The door is open. Hold what returned. It is sealed.